AI important for data analysts to thrive in their careers? Before that, let me tell you something. There are two types of people: AI consumers and AI developers. Let's try to understand each of them. AI consumers are those people who are consuming AI. You might have seen thousands of reels on Instagram to get started with AI tools, to do voice cloning or to image generation, Ghibli images. If you want to use those tools, you are eventually a AI consumer. On the other hand, AI developer is somebody who is developing those products. Imagine there are thousands of other products that are available on voice, on video generation, on text generation, on automated resume scoring, blah blah blah. And imagine you are creating the 1,001st product. You are going to be an AI developer. Now, to become a data analyst, you need not have to have the knowledge of an AI developer. You need not have to understand what are the core concepts behind it, what are natural language concepts behind it, or transformer concepts or deep learning. But you need to know about an AI consumer's role. AI consumers are those people who eventually use those applications, use those AI tools to become more productive in their day-to-day activities. And here we are. As a data analyst, I strongly believe that every one of you should be aware of some of these AI tools such as ChatGPT or Grok or GitHub Copilot or Microsoft Copilot that can help you in your day-to-day exercises, be it on code generation or code debugging or some general help or report building purposes. Whatever you want to do, basically you can take help of AI tools to fast track your learning, and that is one of the reasons why I have added this particular module as part of my data analytics program as well. That means if you want to become a data analyst, this is something that you should definitely learn even before jumping into the technical parts. This is eventually my first module of the data analytics program that I provide, which will be completely free for all of you. In case you are fascinated by the way I teach, in case you are willing to learn data analytics, the link will be in the description. You can check out the links and enroll for my course. For now, please enjoy this module, which is basically on leveraging generative AI tools for data analyst. To begin with, before we start, the agenda of this entire video is going to be very simple. I'm going to talk about the basics of introduction to generative AI. Non-technical people can easily understand, trust me. And I'm going to talk about some of the AI tools like ChatGPT and Grok and how are they going to help you on a daily basis. I'm also going to talk about a very important topic, which is prompt engineering and some ethical considerations that we should always take care when we are talking to ChatGPT or tools like ChatGPT. Let's get started. In case you want a dedicated ebook on Power BI or Tableau, our team has created a beautiful ebook, more than 100 pages. Just write down ebooks in the comment section and we will be giving you a link to the ebooks immediately. See you in the video. If you enjoy, please enjoy, like, share and subscribe the channel, and do not forget to send this across multiple groups. Spread the love. See you in the video. Hi, welcome to this module on Introduction to Generative AI. For those who might be wondering, why do we have Introduction to Generative AI in our data analytics program? Well, just to let you know that the world is changing. A lot of things are changing in the space of AI, and that has also impacted the life of a data analyst. Traditionally, 2-3 years back, people were not aware of AI tools. Generative AI was pretty much new. ChatGPT had just started, but nowadays with all of these tools coming up, data analysts have started using these tools to be more proactive, to be more insightful, to be more beneficial for the company. So it's a win-win situation for both, for data analysts and for the companies as well. Now in this particular module, I'm going to help you out with understanding of the basic concepts of generative AI. Trust me, I'm not going to go technically deep into this. I'm just going to touch base on the very basic concepts of generative AI, and then I'm going to introduce you to two important AI tools that could be helpful in your journey. So, talking about the agenda, this is how the agenda of this module will look like. We will first start with introduction to AI and generative AI. Then we will talk about introduction to the AI tools, ChatGPT and Grok. Well, most of you might already be knowing about ChatGPT, but we will be talking about Grok very shortly. Apart from that, there are also multiple alternatives of ChatGPT, like Microsoft Copilot is there, Cloud Sonnet is there, many other tools are also there. But if you are good with ChatGPT or Grok, then you most likely don't need anything else, especially for a data analytics profile. Deep diving into that, we will be jumping into prompting and prompt engineering. This is by far one of the most important thing that is needed for a data analyst. This was not yet there in the program because the program was designed in a way that we were teaching you all the important skills that is needed for data analysts, but prompt engineering is going to add stars to what you have. It's going to be like a catalyst in your learning journey. So we will be talking about prompt engineering in depth. And then how are these tools like ChatGPT and Grok will help you? Let's get into this. Hi, let's jump into introduction to AI and generative AI. Understanding the world of human language and computers. Now, before getting into generative AI, I would like to talk about something which comes even before that, like understanding of data analytics workflow, and then I will be explaining you where does generative AI comes into picture when it comes to real life industries. When you are joining a company as a data analyst, you should be aware of what are these things, right? So after this lecture, I'm pretty much sure most of your doubts will be clarified. So let's jump on to our Miro board. So data analytics workflow is something that I have already covered in the introduction to data analytics module. But however, I'm going to give you a very brief idea about it. Right now, when it comes to the data and the AI domain, right? When I talk about data and AI domain, I'm talking about everything related to data analytics, data science, AI, and data engineering, right? So whenever you join a company as a data analyst, eventually you will be joining the data team, right? Whenever you join a company as a data analyst or as a data scientist or as an AI engineer, it's eventually going to be the data team. Nobody tells that I'm joining the AI team, I'm joining the data analytics team. It's eventually the data team. Trust me. Whenever you join the companies, you will be able to know about this thing, right? When it comes to data team, not necessarily every company has a data analyst. On the other hand, not necessarily every company has a data scientist, right? The ideal scenario is a data team should consists of some data analysts. It should also consist of some data scientists, and that includes some AI engineers and some data engineers. Now, this is the ideal scenario, but life is not about ideal scenarios, right? So that's why in some companies they only have data analysts to do all the work, and vice versa. In some companies they have data scientists and AI people to do all the work, and in some companies they have data engineers to do all the work, right? So it depends from company to company. Now jumping on to the workflow, which will give you a better understanding of how things work. When it comes to a use case, whenever you are trying to solve a problem, right, the very first thing is business understanding. Now, what does business understanding mean? Now, imagine you are joining a company as a data analyst or as a data scientist into the insurance world, insurance company or a telecom company, right? Let's take an example of insurance company. Now, in the insurance company, you are taking the role of a data analyst, right? Now, the very first thing is understanding what insurance is all about, right? What are the key aspects of insurance? What are the key roles that we do in insurance? What is the business? So business understanding is very important. Now, you could join as a fresher or as an experienced professionals. Trust me, in the field of data especially, business understanding is not a hard prerequisite when you are trying to switch a job. I have I have like 15 years of experience so far, 14 plus, and I have played around with different type of companies. With zero experience in insurance also, I have jumped into insurance companies. So domain knowledge is not mandatory, but once you join the company, when you start working on projects or use cases, yeah, in that case domain knowledge is important, which eventually you will get it from your seniors or your manager, right? Once you have the business understanding, once you know which type of use cases I should focus on, then comes the data understanding part, where you try to understand the data. Okay, in this part you basically understand, in this company, do we have a data warehouse, do we have a lake house, or do we have flat files, do we have some ERP systems from where the data is coming? So you need to understand the data sources. And once you understand the data sources, depending on which use case you pick, based on the use case, the next thing is data collection. Okay, depending on which use case you are doing, right, comes data collection. After data collection basically means wherever you want to collect the data that is relevant for your use case, right? After data collection, now let me try to take an example of telecom, because that is something I can easily give an example from. So I'll try to take an example of telecom. Okay, let's say I'm talking about telecom. Okay, now in telecom, let's say one of the use case that you are doing is churn analysis. Your manager has told you, oh, let's say I'm giving a specific company name, let's say Vodafone. So you joined this company, your manager told you that, hey, our company's churn rate is around 28%, and it has been growing since the last 2 years. 2 years back it was around 23%, now it is 28%. We need to cut it down to less than 15%. Can you start analyzing this? As a data analyst, you should be worried about how to start analysis on this particular task. In this case, you need to use your brain and think about, oh, where are the data that I can capture? What are the data? And then depending on what you think, let's say customer data, customer demographics, usage data, blah blah blah, you need to collect these kind of data sources and then start working on the data preparation. Once your data preparation is done, then you have to go ahead with the EDA is exploration of data. In depth, we will be covering that in this particular course. After EDA is done, usually there are two parts. Now, logically, this is where the data analyst work is done. After that, usually there are two parts, either this or that. This is passing on these insights to the BI team, who can work on a visualization dashboard, or passing on to the data science and AI team, who can take these insights and start working on a predictive analytics use case or a model, predictive analytics model or a predictive AI model. That's what I told you. In some companies, the data analyst work does not stop here. They also work on the dashboard, they also work on this. So that is why this thing is important. Now, the reason why I was talking about this part is, where does generative AI comes into picture? Generative AI is somewhere here, right? Now, when it comes to AI, what is AI? AI is nothing but artificial intelligence. That means something that can be artificially gained. Now, think about what is the difference between artificial and natural intelligence? Natural intelligence is something that you inherit from your parents as a hereditary thing, right? Artificial intelligence is something you're artificially knowing about it. Imagine a baby. A baby, when a newborn baby is born, the baby does not understand the differences between a cat or a dog. It's the responsibility of their parents to inform the baby this is a cat, this is a dog. Now, once they see 100 cats or 1,000 cats or 1,000 dogs in a span of 6, 7, 8 months, 10 months, they will automatically be able to identify the difference between cat and dogs. All of a sudden, if they see a tiger or some other animal, they will not be able to understand because their human brain, their brain does not have the images of those animals. That is exactly how AI works. And AI also works on data. The more data you provide, based on that, it will work. Now, this is how the AI ecosystem looks like. There are multiple areas of research that basically leads to AI. One of them being machine learning. One of them being natural language processing. One of them being computer vision, one of them being autonomous vehicles, one of them being robot process automation, and all of these things leads to AI. So if somebody asks you how to achieve AI, these are the areas of research through which you can achieve AI. Now, if you deep dive into machine learning, comes another subset which is called as deep learning. And again, inside deep learning, there is another small thing, and this is basically called as generative AI. Generative AI is as simple as that generation part. Now, when you're going to ChatGPT, you're asking, let's say we'll go to ChatGPT. Now, this is ChatGPT. Let's say, can you write a 5 sentence, okay, let's say, can you write an essay on introduction to Gen AI in just 5 sentences? Now, what's happening here is word by word, the input is being interpreted by the model that is sitting behind this front end, and that model is able to generate these things. Now, imagine there is a brain, right? Now, this brain is being trained with trillions and trillions of data. So, when you are asking a question as a human being, when you are asking a question, what's happening is internally the question is being converted into a number. Okay, just imagine, just think of it as, because computers don't understand natural language, right? Computers only understand numbers. So imagine your question is being converted into a set of numbers. It's called as vectors. Now this basically goes to this brain and tries to get all the relevant information. Now imagine this brain has millions of vectors. So let's say the question is, who is Roger Federer? Or let's say the question is, who is Sachin Tendulkar? Now, now this brain has trillions of data, trillions, right? It has data about Virat Kohli, about Sachin Tendulkar, about Ricky Ponting, about Babar Azam, about multiple other cricketers, tennis players, badminton players, about the world, news, politics, trillions of data, right? So there are millions and millions of vector data. Now, from this question, let's say the relevant vectors are this and this. That means these vectors have some information about Sachin Tendulkar. That basically comes, those, this input, let's say I will write it down as I, and this relevant, let's say R1 and R2. So I, along with R1, along with R2, basically goes into a model. Okay, I will write it down as a large language model. Now this is the same model, and the model basically gives you the final output that Sachin Tendulkar is a player or something like that. So don't go into the technicalities. I'm just talking very, very high level. But this is how generative AI is. In simple terms, if you ask me, this is how it looks like. Your AI is here, then comes a subset which is ML, then comes another subset which is DL, and this is where Gen AI is picturized. Moving on to the next topic, which is examples of publicly available generative AI tools. Now, there are many tools. Every day there is a new tool that is coming up. Do not worry about all of these tools. For you as a data analyst or as a BI analyst in your journey, most of these tools are not going to help you. So we will be focusing more on ChatGPT, and we will be focusing on an alternative to ChatGPT which is called as Grok.com very shortly. But yeah, these are the AI tools for text generation, AI tools for code generation, AI tools for image generation, and some other AI tools. You can scan this to see a list of available AI tools. Now this list is updated as of today, but the moment when you see this, if it is like 2026 or 2027, I cannot guarantee whether these tools will still be available or not. The next topic is large language models. Now, what are large language models? Again, I will be talking about very, very high level for data analysts. All of these things are not required, but imagine Chat GPT behind the hoods is nothing but a large language model. It's like a huge model that is trained on trillions of data. And because of that, whatever you are asking to ChatGPT, ChatGPT is able to respond. So ChatGPT is nothing but a large language model. Now, if you ask me, sir, what are the different other large language models available in the market? So there are many. Let me give you an example. GPT-3, GPT-4, GPT-4o, GPT-o3, etc., etc. These all are by a company called as OpenAI, right? So OpenAI is the owner of all of these large language models, and ChatGPT is nothing but ChatGPT is like a front end. ChatGPT is the name that you know, but behind the hoods, it's basically nothing but a GPT model. A full form of GPT is generative pre-trained model, which is again out of scope, not required for you. I'm just telling you all these things just for knowledge. That's it. The second type of large language model I would talk about is Grok. Grok 3, Grok 2, etc. Now this is by a company called as Grok, and this company's owner is Elon Musk. Okay, if you go to grok.com, this is grok.com. You can also ask similar kind of questions here. Let's say, can you write an essay on introduction to generative AI in 5 sentences? See, you can see not necessarily these, whatever this tool is sending you, Grok might be giving you a different answer, but the context is same. Grok is also able to understand. Apart from that, there are some llama models, llama 2, llama 3. By the time you study this, maybe llama 4 will also be there, etc. And this is by a company called as Meta. People know it by the name of Facebook, right? There are many other like AWS Nova Pro, AWS Nova Lite. These are some models by Amazon AWS, right? There are many other models like Cloud Sonnet 3.5, Cloud Sonnet 3.7. These are by Anthropic. There is another called as Quen, and there are different variants of Quen. This is by Alibaba. So all of these All of these are different large language models, and they all are trained on millions and millions of data, right? So, okay, that's good, right? So, for this particular module, I will be focusing on Grok. I will be focusing on Grok and OpenAI. Okay, so we will be using these two. OpenAI tool is ChatGPT, and Grok's tool is grok.com. Okay, simple. Now, what are the different tasks that large language models can do? Anything. It can do text summarization, it can do text classification, it can do translation, it can do natural language understanding, and many other things. If you want a quick test, maybe what we can do is we'll try to pick one of these tasks. Let's say sentiment analysis, right? I scraped a movie review from IMDb. The review says the movie was good, the acting was also fine, action could have been better, but I feel the actors did justice to their roles. Can you tell me the sentiment of this review in just one word? I don't want ChatGPT to give me a huge answer. Very simple, mixed. It has given mixed. Now, instead of one word, I will just remove that one word and I will see what is ChatGPT is telling. The sentiment of this review is generally positive with some mixed feelings. The reviewer appreciates the movie and the acting but expresses a desire for improved action. Overall, it conveys a balanced perspective. Right? Cool. Similarly, one more task, let's say code generation, right? Let's say I want to write a simple code. Write a Python code to upload a file reviews.csv to a S3 bucket in AWS using Boto 3. Now I have just asked a simple question and you will be able to see that the code is ready. Very simple. It has already written down the code and voila, everything is good. I can just quickly go and run this code. It should work. So these are the different tasks that large language models can do. Well, with respect to what data analysts should worry about and what data analysts should do, we will be studying about that as well as examples. That's all about the introduction part. In the next video, we will be talking about the two different tools and we will try to deep dive into it. And then going forward, we'll also talk about prompt engineering. Hi. Jumping into the next part, which is introduction to the two AI tools, ChatGPT and Grok. So I reside in Hong Kong. Most of you might know about this. In case you don't know, I'm just letting you know that I stay in Hong Kong, where ChatGPT is unfortunately banned. And I don't have VPN, so I cannot show you how ChatGPT should look like. But in your country, it's very simple. Just go to the web and try to search ChatGPT, and you should be able to get the link, which is something like this. Once you click on it, you should be able to access ChatGPT. I think this one, chatgpt.com. But in my case, I'm not able to load this site because in Hong Kong it's banned. But we have alternatives to ChatGPT that we use in Hong Kong. So it's up to you if you want to use directly ChatGPT or POE.com. It's completely your choice. Now POE.com is nothing but like it's a company where you will be able to see multiple chatbots, multiple LLM providers. If you want to use GPT-4o, you can click on it, you can use it. If you want to use Cloud Opus, Cloud Sonnet, whatever it is. But usually I don't choose these applications. I directly go to poe.com, and whatever model is selected, I directly chat with that, and most of the times I am beneficial from that. Apart from poe.com, grok.com is my personal favorite. uh, Now a reason for that could be I don't use ChatGPT, so for me grok.com sits on top. But I have personally used ChatGPT and Grok and various other alternatives. Grok is something that I would always recommend for, right? It's not like an official promotion or something. I personally like Grok. The way Grok answers is really amazing. You will automatically realize that once you start working on it. But yeah, these are the two different tools that you can use in your day-to-day activities in your data analytics learning journey, and when you join a company as a data analyst also. Now you must be thinking, sir, what are the different use cases where we can leverage these tools, right? So let's try to talk about that first. So I will try to write down here use cases of using AI tools such as ChatGPT or Grok.com. Now, the very first thing is data summarization. What do you mean by data summarization? That could basically mean uh, if you want to summarize a particular data set. So let's say you have a CSV file or an Excel file with multiple sheets. You can directly pass to ChatGPT and summarize this. We will try to have a look at it. Okay. So quickly summarize complex data sets to extract key insights. Now, I will also keep the summarization of any report under this same category. So summarize reports and data sets to quickly extract key insights. Of course, prompt engineering plays a vital role. Prompt engineering basically means the way you are asking the question to ChatGPT, right? Treat ChatGPT as your personal friend, but whenever you are asking a question, make sure you are passing all the information. Smallest to smallest information also you need to pass. For example, you want to summarize a document. As a data expert or as a data architect, you need to pass it in the prompt itself. I will show you, do not worry about that. As an example, code generation, very important thing where you can take help of ChatGPT and Grok. Whenever you are stuck in your Python programming, let's say you are a complete beginner coming from a non-technical background, you are hard stuck on Python, variables, keywords, and you are not able to get help. I even don't want you to go for help. You have ChatGPT, Grok, smallest to the smallest issue that you have, directly go to ChatGPT and ask. For example, let's say you are stuck in a list problem. Let's say this is a list. Something like this, right? How many elements are there in this list? Can you explain that, as I am confused? This should help you to explain. You can see how many elements. You can see 1 integer, 2 integer, 3 integer, 4, 5 is one element. So you can see it's a single element and it's nothing but a list. Similarly, math science is also one element. So how many total elements do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 elements are there. How to print the length of this list? Can you write the code? Now, of course, you can use the alien function, and you can see the answer is here, print alien. And directly you can take this and paste it into your Google Colab and you can test it out. So this is how you can use ChatGPT or Grok. Either of them, don't use both, either of them, right? And you can see that the length of y will come as 5. Similarly, if you have any other type of help, like you want ChatGPT to generate the entire code. Now, for example, let's say I will take an example of this. Let's say I have this data set, for example. Now, let's say I have, these are the four columns that I have. For example, I have these four columns in my data frame, let's say DF. Can you write a code? Give more context. I have these four columns in data frame. All of them are categorical data. Can you write a code to run through a loop of all of these four columns and plot a bar chart in Python? Now, if you do that, what you're asking is, your problem statement is you have these four columns and you want to show the chart, right? You can see the categorical columns are defined, and then you can see the column in this, and you will be able to see the final output, right? Now we don't have the data here, that's why we cannot, but you have already got a code here, right? So whenever you are working on a particular problem, let's say you have a specific data, and you can also copy paste that entire row and paste it here and ask, this is what my problem is. Okay, let's say you are stuck on a code, and you, let's say there is a error. Okay, so let's say you are running one of the codes where there is an import error module named langchain not found. How to solve this problem? Now ChatGPT will be able to tell you the exact solution. Module name langchain not found indicates that this particular library is not installed in your Python environment. To resolve this, you need to install the library. And how to install? The code is already mentioned here, pip install langchain. Again, for example, you are confused how to open command prompt. Let's say you don't know, right? How to open command prompt is very simple. But in case you don't know, right, I'm just talking about a very naive scenario. How to open command prompt? Can you help? And it will tell you Windows R, type cmd, press enter, your command prompt is opened, right? And then you can follow these steps. Just in case you are not able to run, you can give a follow-up question that this is what I'm getting, I'm not able to proceed, and it will be able to help you out. And that is how ChatGPT and various other alternatives are designed for, right? Code generation, right? Generate Python, SQL codes, etc., right? In case you want to generate some SQL code, I want to find the fifth highest salary of a customer. The table has customer ID and few other columns. Customer ID, salary, and few other columns. Write this query in MySQL, and you will be able to get the solution. Select distinct salary from your table name. Oh, I don't want salary, I want the customer name. I want the customer name in the query. Who has the fifth highest salary? Now it will change the code, because here it has mentioned salary. Here it will show you the customer name. But let's say you just want the name, you don't want the salary. You can also rewrite, I just need the customer name, not the salary, and it will rectify the query. So you need to talk to ChatGPT as if he's your friend, and make sure you are passing all the information. So do not worry about how to ask these questions, because we will be studying that everything in the prompt engineering class, right? The third one is code debugging. Whenever you are stuck in a code, you can always ask. Data cleaning, yes, you can always provide your data, and ChatGPT will be able to clean your data as well, or at least they will be able to guide you how to clean. Visualization recommendations, yes, ChatGPT will be able to do. Interpretation of results, documentation, various other things, right? So let's focus on some of these exercises. Let's say I'm doing a small exercise on data summarization. Okay, so let's say I have this particular file, and I'm going to use this file, and I'm going to ask Grok. I'm not asking ChatGPT, I'm going to Grok and asking. Now, do not worry about what I'm writing. The reason why I'm going to write this is because I already know how to write a prompt, but I will teach you how to write, right? But make sure you see what's being typed. Act as a data analyst, go through the document provided, and generate a list of 5 to 6 insights that you found from this report, and also let us know what this document is all about. So what's going to happen is Grok is going to read through this document, and what is there in this document? This is like a credit EDA case study. There is a business understanding, and there are some insights. So Grok is going to read through this entire data, and it is going to give us our final insights. The document titled Credit Case Study by, of course, me, is an exploratory data analysis report focused on analyzing credit data, blah, blah, blah. Key insights from the report, you can see the first insight it got was the imbalanced data, right? You can see imbalanced data. 92 is to 8. Occupation and default risk, blah blah blah. Summary: this EDA report provides actionable insights for a consumer finance company to refine its loan. You can see, right? It's able to explain you each and everything. If you want to cut it short to a even simpler description, let's say you don't understand some of these things and you want even a simpler solution, uh, generate a list of 5. Explain me like a toddler or a 1 year or like a 5 year kid or like a newbie or something. If you add that prompt into your existing prompt, it will be able to give you even a better simple solution or a simple explanation, right? So that's one of the use cases. Code generation we studied. Code debugging we also studied. Whenever you are stuck, directly take the code, copy it, directly paste it, and just give one liner that this is what the error is, can you help? That's it. The second next thing I'm going to talk about is some of the examples. Okay, now I already gave you one example. I'm also going to give another example. Let's say okay, let's say I'm going to pass this dummy file, right? There are multiple, so there are two sheets here, right? And the common element is customer index. Let's focus on the sales orders, right? Let's say in this particular file, okay, we have channel and we have unit price, right? Or maybe what we can do is we will be having a separate example session on this where I will be explaining you about this thing. So far, I think we have understood that these are the different use cases where you can leverage these AI tools. Going forward, let's jump into prompt engineering. And once we are done with that, we will be able to use the knowledge of prompt engineering and take some examples and write down some fascinating prompts as part of our final exercise. See you in the next video. Hi, welcome back. In this video, we shall be focusing on prompt engineering. So, even though generative AI concepts are not mandatory for data analysts, especially in your data analytics journey, but this is one of those topics which even though it's related to generative AI, but this is something that I prefer everybody should be aware of, whether you are a data analyst or a data scientist, or you are not related to data or AI domain, you are simply working as a software engineer or a program engineer or a program manager, a tester, anybody in the field of IT. And even if you're not coming from an IT background, you are working as a content creator, anybody, in short, anybody in this world should be aware of prompt engineering. Let's try to understand what exactly this topic is. So, what is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering is nothing but a technique that involves structuring text that can be interpreted by a generative AI model. It involves crafting precise instructions to get desired response from the language models. These instructions act as guidance to the model. The output from the system can be altered by giving different prompts as input. Well, very theoretical. I'm sure many of you might be confused. Let's jump onto Miro board for a simpler explanation. Now, I have talked about some of the large language models, right? Let's say we are talking about Grok, right? What's behind this model is, you can see here, Grok 3, right? So, Grok 3 is basically the large language model that we are using through grok.com. So grok.com is nothing but the front end, the UI interface through which you are able to chat, but you are chatting eventually with this particular model, right? Now, if you want to know more about it, Grok 3 is trained on how much data. All these things you can always ask. You will be able to get a lot of information on the web. But again, as I said, these information are not very important for you, right? The developer of this platform is xAI, which is a company by Elon Musk. It has been, you can see, Musk was one of the 11 co-founders of OpenAI. The background is mentioned here. How much data is this model having? Well, yeah, you can see that this model has a improved reasoning, blah blah blah, these many tokens. Again, very very technical terms for you. Do not worry about it. Try to understand this thing, that this is your front end. POE is your front end, but eventually you are talking to a language model, right? So that should be clear, right? So you are a user here, right? Imagine this is nothing but your front end, right? Your UI. You as a user are asking a question. So that question is basically nothing but the input. LLM is your Grok 3. It's doing some da 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 and then getting the answer, and the answer is being given to you, and that answer is nothing but the output. So what goes into input is nothing but your question, which is also called as prompt. So prompt goes into these models as an input, and prompt engineering is nothing but the art of writing a very good prompt. The way you can tweak prompts, that's prompt engineering. The engineering behind writing a proper prompt, right? What is computer science engineering? Studying about computers. Data engineering, studying about data. Infra IT engineering, of course, about IT. Mechanical engineering, about mechanical things. Prompt engineering is all about writing a good prompt. Now, I'll show you the difference between two types of prompting. Let's say I want to ask a question. Imagine I'm an user, I'm going to ask a question. So for this exercise, I'm just sticking to one of the tools. I'll not confuse them. As I told you, you can use either of them, right? I'm closing it. I'm going for Grok. Let's say I want to ask a question. Write an essay. Write a 10-line essay. Now, in this particular question, ChatGPT, or sorry, Grok is able to give you some answers, right? Curiosity is the spark that drives human progress. But imagine I'm asking this question to you. What will be your first follow up question? The first follow up question will be, boss, what is the topic that I want to write the essay? Now, this is the typical difference between these models and a human being. Human being will ask valid questions, valid follow-up questions. Models like these, they will not ask follow-up questions. They will give you answers based on whatever understanding they have. Now, in this case, it is, as you don't provide the topic name, it's randomly creating a topic and giving you some output. So always make sure that you write a proper prompt that is meaningful, that has context, right? So that's a very important part of prompting. Now, if you give a prompt like this, write a detailed essay on introduction to Gen AI, make sure you start the essay with a question mark and write not more than 10 lines. Make sure you divide the essay into two paragraphs. Now, you can see in this prompt, this is what the output is, right? You can see the difference, right? The difference between a bad prompt and a better prompt. I'm not saying this is the best prompt, but still, if I ask you, I think it's very simple and clear, right? The topic is understood. We are explicitly asking the model to start with a question mark and write not more than 10 lines. Make sure you divide the essay into two paragraphs, right? And it has accomplished the task. It has started with what is generative AI and why is it transforming the world. Generative AI refers to artificial intelligence systems, da da da, this technology, da da da, right? Able to understand? So, coming back to the topic, this is prompt engineering. Do not worry about these uh, theoretical definitions, but I hope you understand what prompt engineering is, right? What is a prompt? As I have already explained to you, prompt is nothing but that goes into the input. Try to focus on this part. Now, in this part, if I have to divide this, right? Like if somebody asks me, can you do a postmortem of this? First of all, what is the task or what is the topic? This is the topic. So I can write it down as context. Context, right? Now, context is understood. What is the task? Write a detailed essay. That is basically the task, right? Make sure you start the essay with a question mark. These are special instructions. I will write it as format. Not more than 10 lines. Again, another instruction. Divide the essay into two paragraphs. Again, these are also formatting, right? And you're able to understand these are the main attributes of writing a prompt. Now, let's try to jump more into prompt engineering. There are majorly three types of prompting. Okay. So, what are the three different types of prompting? Very simple to understand. Zero shot. The second one is one shot. And the third one is few shot. Now, what is zero shot? Zero shot basically means whenever you are asking a question to ChatGPT, or Grok or any alternative tool without any reference, without any examples. That's basically zero shot prompting. For example, write a YouTube script for my data science YouTube channel, right? No context, no reference, nothing. When it comes to the second part, which is one shot prompting, this is where you use one example as a reference. Now, what you can do is simply, this is one of my previous scripts, and then you pass your script. Hey, Satyajit Pattnaik here, a data scientist with 14 plus years of experience, and in this video we shall be talking about generative AI and okay. Using this style, can you write a script on types of prompting, or let's say script on various AI tools available in the market for text generation, something like that, right? Now you can see what it will answer. You can test it out on ChatGPT as well, right? The script is here. You can see the first line or the first paragraph is almost the same style what I have provided. Hey, Satyajit Pattnaik here, a data scientist with 14 plus years of experience, and in this video we shall be diving into the exciting world of AI tools for text generation. These tools are transforming how we create content, from blogs to marketing copy. Let's explore some of the top players in the market. Great? Able to understand? That's one shot prompting to you. If you want to take it to another level by providing multiple examples, then it becomes few shot prompting. And that basically ables to understand your style. If you give 5 of your previous scripts as an example, and then you give a new topic, it will not only copy your initial statement and the closing statement, it will also understand your style. Let's say there is a pattern in all of your scripts. You are introducing and then you have a punchline or like a hook line, then it will definitely copy that style, right? So give it a try. These are all parts of practicing. Prompt engineering is something which literally nobody can teach you. It's all about practicing. The more and more prompts you write, the more and more interactions you have with ChatGPT or Grok, eventually you will understand the game. Eventually you will be able to understand how to ask, and eventually you will be able to succeed. As simple as that, right? I can only give you some initial inputs. That's it. Moving on, very important topic, which is AI hallucination. Now, AI hallucination is nothing but a scenario where the model hallucinates. What is hallucination? It's something like dizziness, right? Whenever you are not able to concentrate or not able to think. Exactly, that happens with large language models as well. For example, I will ask, who won the match between Mumbai Indians versus Delhi Capital that was conducted on 28th May 2025. Now, I'm just asking a hypothetical question, okay? I don't know whether this match, I think, I'm not sure about this match which happened on 28th or a couple of days plus minus, I don't know. But you can see there was no match. Okay, it's able to get something from the internet, which is good. That means Grok is a better model, right? But if you ask, okay, hey, my Vodafone bill for this month is 9500 INR. Can you tell me why? Now, here the model does not have my bill, right? I'm just asking, why is my bill 9500? Now, in this case, without access to specific billing details, I can't pinpoint the exact reason, but it is able to give you some possibilities. Now, a better answer here could be, what if, imagine this Grok model has an access to the Vodafone database, has an access to your own bill, then it will be able to give you a better answer, right? But in this case, it is just giving you like a very high level answer. These scenarios are called as hallucinations, where your large language model answers, but it does not give you the answer that you are expecting. Sometimes it gives you a wrong answer, sometimes it hallucinates, something like that. So that's basically called as AI hallucinations. How to solve that is something which is out of scope for data analysts. Let's not go into that. Okay, now the most important thing is prompt structuring. Very, very important thing. I always wanted to talk about that, and here we are talking about prompt structures. So what is prompt structuring? Prompt structuring is nothing but the art of writing a prompt. Okay, in bits and pieces we understood that a prompt usually is a combination of task, context and format. But wait, prompt is basically a combination of 6 different attributes. The first is nothing but context. The second is going to be task. The third is persona. The fourth is going to be format. The fifth is going to be examples, or the official keyword is exemplar. And last but not the least is tone. Now, what is context? Context is nothing but the background information, right? Task means what to do. What does the LLM needs to do? Persona is identity. Format is which format do you want, right? Exemplar means examples. Tone basically means your mood, right? Let's say we will jump into Grok, right? I'm going to create a new chat. I don't want to use the historical chat, else the model will get confused, because the model already has some historical information. So I want to start fresh, right? I want to ask, as an expert in data analytics, give me the list of top 10 theoretical interview questions asked in Power BI. Okay, try to focus on this question. In this question, what is my context? My context is, okay, let's start with this part. As an expert in data analytics, what is this? This is your persona, because you want the AI to behave as a data analytics expert. If you don't give this, it will still be able to give you the top 10 questions, no doubt about it. But it is always good that you assign a task to the LLM model or to ChatGPT or Grok. If you assign that task, like this is what you need to behave as, your output will also be nurtured. It will be better. What is the task? Task is give the list of top 10 theoretical questions. That's the task. What is the context? Context is, it's something about interview questions asked in Power BI. That's basically my context. Format, as of now in this query, in this prompt, there is no format. But let's say I want to add a format. Make sure, or let's say we'll go to the second line, make sure the questions have necessary bullet points when required. Now that's basically your what? Basically your formatting part. Your make sure has bullet points. That's your formatting. Examples and tone is not mentioned here. Now tone, so these are 6 parameters of writing a prompt. It's not mandatory to have all of them together, but this is mandatory, this is mandatory, this is not mandatory, but I would recommend you do this as a practice. Formatting is not mandatory, examples are not mandatory, tone is not mandatory, right? But it's always good to have. I'll give an example of a tone, right? First of all, let's try to run this. Oh, we have already run this, right? You can see the questions are here. Now let's say I want to give an example of a tone. Okay. Um, okay. Act as a professional content writer. Write a humorous blog post on generative AI. Keep the blog within 200. Let's say I'll make it 100 words. Add formatting whenever necessary. Also add some emojis to it. So here the tone is humorous. You can see it's going to act funny. Generative AI is like an intern who over delivers. Give it a prompt and it churns out novels, code, or cat memes in seconds. It's a creative whirlwind. Now, the reason I wanted to keep it short is I don't want unnecessarily to generate a lot of text. So, just as an example, I did with 100 words. If you want to make it, like try it out, you can always try it out with more number of words. Okay. So in this case, what will be my persona? My persona is professional content writer. Write a humorous blog post is my tone. Post on generative AI is my task, right? Like writing this blog post will be my task. That will be my task. Topic, content, so this could be your context. There is no examples, these are your formatting, right? These are your formatting. So that is how you write a good prompt, right? So whenever you are in your data analytics journey, right, as I have already explained, most of the times you would be taking help of either of these use cases, right? Make sure you add a prompt that behave as a data analyst or as a data analytics expert. Can you do this? Can you do that? Something like that. If you're doing a code debugging, as a software engineering expert or as an expert in Python, do this. If you don't add, it's okay, but my recommendation is to add it, right? So that brings us to an end to this section. We have applications of generative AI that we'll be covering in the next video, but I think most of the things are already covered. um, yeah, let's move on to the next part and then you can quickly jump into the world of data analytics. Hi, let's jump into the applications of generative AI. I have already talked about various applications or various use cases where you can leverage these AI tools for some of your day-to-day activities. When it comes to Python coding, you can take help of code generation or code debugging. Whenever you are stuck with your Python codes, you can take help of ChatGPT. Whenever you are stuck with your SQL codes or executing some queries, you are finding difficulties, make sure you explain that in a very simple terms to ChatGPT or Grok, and he will be able to solve those problems as well. Once you are good with all these debugging issues, jumping into your actual data analytics life, where you want to do some ED analysis or generate some Power BI dashboards, you can always take help of these tools, directly dump in your data, and you can create KPIs or get ideas as well, right? Let's try to get into that and try to take 2 or 3 examples and see how can we leverage ChatGPT or Grok, right? The very first thing is generating text. When it comes to applications, generating text, generating images, generating audio, all these are use cases of generative AI. But audio, images is something which is out of scope for us as a data analyst. We will be focusing more on the generating text part, right? Now, this is the first thing. Imagine this is a template that I have provided. You can either copy it or generally understand what I am telling and then use your own words. I don't want people to follow some template or follow some strategies, right? You take notes, create your own template, see whether you're able to get answers or not. If not, tweak your template and try to get a better answer. As simple as that, right? It's all about testing and trying it out. So let's go ahead and see. Imagine you are a dash tasked with dash. Can you tell me this with additional information? Let's try to ask a question, right? So again, I will be clearing out the chat. I will create a new chat window. I'm going to ask, imagine you are a data analyst. Let's say giving more details, tasked with presenting insights from this data set. Can you tell me which, let's say, we have this data set, right? And I was talking about this where I stopped and I told you that we will be covering that as part of examples, right? Now, this is my file. There are two dummy sheets, but I'm just focused on sales order, right? Let's say I want to find the distribution of the channel with respect to the order quantity, right? Channel versus order quantity. So what I'm going to ask is, imagine you are a data analyst tasked with presenting insights from this data set. Can you tell me which channel has the highest order quantity? Now, let's say I also want this tool to plot a bar. Let's say plot a bar chart if possible. Now, before we run this, let us go to Excel and try to create a chart, right? So this is what the output is, right? The distribution of the channel versus order quantity. You can see the numbers are also visible here. I'm not sure whether Grok will be able to do this, but let's give it a try, right? You didn't provide, oh, great, good. So I'm going to provide this data set. Let's say I'm stopping this. See, I have just provided the data set. My question was already typed in before, right? But it will still be able to understand the context and should be able to give me a proper answer. You can see it has taken the data set, it has analyzed all the columns, objective, data processing plan, blah blah blah, create a bar chart with channel on x-axis, analyzing the data. Below is the HTML file, so it's doing some analysis and it will be able to give you a final report. I also wanted to touch base on one very important thing which could be important because many of you might be using these tools, or at least after knowing about these tools you will start using it. So we should always talk about the ethical part. Maybe after we talk about these examples, I will have a small session on ethical part as well, right? So that we understand the data privacy concerns before using these tools. You can see the final output is here, and order by channel 292.8k, 292.8k, 80k, 80k, 80.7k to be precise, right? 80.7k, 167.5k, 167.5k, right? And interesting fact, The wholesale channel dominates the order volume, suggesting it may be the primary sales channel, blah blah blah. The conclusion is here. Now, this is one of the simplest things that I have asked Grok. If I ask, can you also analyze the data set as a data analyst and give me a list of KPIs that I should be aware of, because eventually I am planning to take these insights or KPIs to the next level by visualizing them on Power BI dashboard. So if you do that, you will also be able to get like a detailed analysis of the data set. You can see, always make sure you read through everything, right? Do not 100% rely on these tools. There could be some data parsing issues. Your Excel sheet is not able to parse or something like that, and eventually the everything is messed up, right? So make sure you read through it, right? This is like an assistant. This is not going to replace data analysts, trust me. These tools are definitely going to be assistants to you. The majority part is going to be done by you. This is just going to give you some ideas and recommend KPIs, da da da, and you can see, you can go through it, right? That's one of the examples. Moving on to the next one, which is for code generation. Very important thing. I need assistant with writing code for specific problem or functionality in a specific language, and here are the details. Let's go ahead and try to create a new chat window for Grok and try to ask a question. Let's say, act as a Python developer, help me write a code for connecting to Boto3 AWS in Python. The objective is to upload a file, let's say resume.csv, or let's say abc.csv, to S3 bucket. Bucket name is abc. Okay, so all the information is provided, and you can see here's a Python script using Boto3. So it has explained everything. Now in case you face any difficulties, let's say, yeah, you can see I was just talking about this thing. In case you face difficulties with respect to libraries, but it has already given you that make sure the prerequisite is to install this library and make sure you configure your AWS credentials. Trust me, it has done an amazing job, right? So that's just one of those applications that I have talked about. There are various other things. Whenever you are stuck with codes, let's say some of your code stopped functioning, let's say, I'm just giving a random example, right? Let's say you're doing something and it failed, right? You can simply go here, directly copy the code, and just copy this part, right? Don't copy the entire error, not needed. So it will be able to tell you the reason. The error occurs because of a missing single quote at the end of the string signs. Now if you want to ask why, wow, I was just going to say that if you want to ask why, but you can see the explanation is already given. The original code has a syntax error due to an unterminated string literal, da, da, da. In Python, string literals must be enclosed in matching quotes. I want to run a similar code for tuple. Can you write a sample code? Okay, one more thing I wanted to tell you is all of these tools are paid tools, right? You can talk to them to certain extent. Now, okay, the reason behind this is like an hallucination problem, because now it has two contexts. It has the context of this code, and it also has the context of this, so it has hallucinated. So that is why if you are asking a very new topic not related to the previous one, create a new session. So I should have created a new session here, but that's my mistake. Anyways, you don't do that mistake, right? I was coming back to the topic that these tools are not free, but you can use it for free to a certain extent. Whenever you feel that your answers, I mean, what happens is all of these tools are not completely free, right? They are free till certain usage. Let's say Grok.com is literally wonderful for me. I have never paid anything on Grok.com. But ChatGPT, yes, if you upload like a huge PDF notebook or huge file, or if you talk to ChatGPT like too much, then of course at a certain point of time, uh, it might ask you for a pro version like a ChatGPT Plus, right? But still, ChatGPT Plus is not a bad investment, I would say. Uh, but trust me, I have never taken any kind of um, plans either from Grok.com or ChatGPT. I have always used them for free. So that means if I have used them for free, and you can imagine how much I would have used these tools, you can trust me on this. So you can do a lot of things without spending a single penny, right? So that's all about this particular module on Introduction to Generative AI. The reason behind doing this module was to let you introduce about the latest happenings in this world. Welcome to this course. Please go ahead and complete this program, Introduction to Data Analytics, and then going forward there are various other modules. I'm sure you will love it. In case you have any difficulties, any question, raise it immediately and I will be able to answer. My WhatsApp number is also provided in the program. When you have taken the program, in the congratulations message, the WhatsApp number is visible. In case you are not able to raise a question, or in case your questions are not answered, reach me out on WhatsApp. See you and good luck for the program. Hi, welcome back. This is going to be the last video of this module where we will be talking about the ethical considerations of using such AI tools. So far we have talked about ChatGPT, Grok, and there are many other alternatives that you can use, right? So, what can be our ethical considerations? How should we always think about data privacy? What data should go to ChatGPT and what data should be avoided to go into ChatGPT, right? We will be talking on that perspective. So, try to understand this thing. Whether you are using ChatGPT or Grok, you are eventually calling a LLM brain, right? There is a LLM brain, right? And that LLM brain is getting called. So whenever you as a user is asking a question, the LLM brain is functioning and preparing some output, and the output is being passed to the users, right? As simple as that. Now this input is nothing but prompt. So this LLM brain is sitting somewhere, right? So I will write it down as somewhere. And where is that, we don't know. So let's try to do this way. Somewhere, right? But we don't know where this brain sits. It could be in US, it could be in UK, it could be anywhere, right? But it's not on your local machine, right? As simple as that. So what basically means is, whenever you are asking some question, and while asking, whenever you are uploading a document, always make sure that the document does not have any privacy concerns. If you are using a public data or a public document, it's completely fine to upload. But whenever you are working on a company level problem statement, company data, make sure you do not pass those information, because eventually the data will be gone to that brain which sits somewhere else. Like maybe in US, right? Now, how do we deal with this scenario? I will take an example and show you and make sure you follow that. So let's say one of my examples is this file, right? Imagine this is my actual company's data, right? Now in this data, as you can see, there are some customer information and there are some customer names, right? And let's say you want to do some analysis on this data and you want to come up with some KPIs, right? So what you can do is simply try to copy it. Let's say I copied it and created a copy of it. Now here what I'm going to do is I am going to mask this data. Okay, first of all I'm going to only select, let's say, a couple of records, let's say only 3 records, and then I'm going to delete all of these customers, and let's say I will write it down as, let's say, some random names: Satyajit, Pattnaik, Jai Viswal, Roy Fernandez. So these are just mocked up data, right? Going back to sales, similarly, what I will do is I will try to filter out only for those 3 customers, right? Or else let's keep it. It's okay. Here, nothing seems to be off. I mean, even if I know it's a company data, but there is no such personal information, so it's okay to be given to ChatGPT or Grok. So what I'll do is I'll try to pass this data right now, right? So now I will be passing Grok copy, and then let's say I want to ask something. Behave as a data analyst and come up with some KPIs that I need to be aware of. Plot charts whenever necessary. I'm asking to behave as a data analyst, go through this document and come up with some KPIs that I need to be aware of. So make sure you are masking your data. Do not pass directly or company related information. Now another example is, imagine, I mean, again, I can only tell you to imagine, I cannot really show you a company related data, right? Imagine this PDF is nothing but your company related data, right? Imagine this is where your company details are mentioned. Let's say you're working for Infosys and you have many places you have mentioned Infosys, right? And so one of the ways is you convert this PDF into document. There are some online tools, or you can make use of Python to convert it. Once the document is converted, in that document, go ahead and try to replace Infosys with XYZ so that the name is masked, and then you can create a PDF out of it and then post it to Grok. That is what you can do. So I might search for a document in case I have. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, let's say this one, right? Okay, this one is, it doesn't have any company details, but I hope you're getting my point, right? Imagine Satyajit Pattnaik is the company's name, right? So what I'm going to do is PDF to Word converter. So this is how I do, right? Of course, you might be thinking that I'm using an online tool, whether it is okay to use or not. This is not okay. I'm just giving you an example, right? So I usually take help of Python. Now download Word, and then the Word document is ready. Imagine, again, just imagine that this is the company's name, right? Satyajit Pattnaik. So I'm just changing it to XYZ Corporation, right? And then everything looks fine, and then my document is ready. So coming back to our Grok, you can see something is done here. Well, the charts are not visible properly, which is fine. It's just because it's not able to plot those graphs, but it is able to give you some APIs, right? Similarly, what I will do is I will now ask Grok about the EDA document that we have created. So let's say this is the use case, and then this document is prepared by XYZ Corporation. Can you tell me five top insights out of it? Keep it short. So I have marked the information, and then as part of that, I have passed the XYZ corporation's data, and then I have passed it. So the main motive, what I'm trying to tell is you should always be aware of what data goes into ChatGPT or Grok. Avoid your company related information. So do not forget these things. Avoid company related information. Avoid personal data, right? Because these are very crucial, very important. You should not pass those things. Avoid company related information. Avoid any private data, any kinds of private data, or bank statements, or any personal, like it's basically related to point number 2, right? So do not do this. Always mask your data before uploading to ChatGPT or Grok.com. Always, right? That's a very important point. Apart from that, uh, I think we are good. That's something I wanted to explain you before you get started with your journey as a data analyst. I think that's it. I'll keep it simple, short, and this module is done and dusted right now. I'm assuming that you all have some basic knowledge on generative AI and these kind of AI tools. Now, please jump into the modules, Introduction to Data Analytics, Python, EDA, and enjoy the program. In case you enjoy, do not forget to provide a 5-star review in the course. Whenever you are stuck, you always have my WhatsApp number. Please reach out to me for any kind of help. Good luck.